Hello viewers, welcome to yet another edition of your favorite show, Shantia's Haven. Today we are continuing with the topic on forgiveness and hurts, letting go, especially from those we love, especially from those we used to count on. We learned the other time that forgiveness is a gift you can give to yourself because there are certain situations that we really cannot change. They are there and they will remain like that. So how do we do to move on? We had a guest last time, Benezet, who talked to us about her life experience, some emotional experience about what she went through and how she managed to forgive her mother after all what she went through because of her. The question now is, this forgiveness, does that mean that she is all over, she's forgotten about everything? Sometimes people say the wound will still, the scar will be there, but the wound won't hurt because it's finished. It's just a scar. We want to find out how she manages with the scar. The wound is over. She's forgiven her mother. She's forgiven people, and she's trying or she's working hard on living a normal life again. But is that all? Is it for real? Can you really forgive and you forget about everything and nothing reminds you of it? Or if you're reminded of it, how do you manage it? Hello Benezet, you're welcome to Shantia's Haven.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure having you with us.
It's my pleasure.
I hope this time around you'll not make me cry.
I'm sure you're not crying.
Last time it was so emotional. But I learned a lot from your story. I learned about forgiveness and moving on with your life because it doesn't depend on that person. It depends on you. Even when the person doesn't want to, you still forgive and move on with your life because it's important. Now I know that when wounds are healed, the scar remains.
Yes.
I see you move on with your life, but I want to find out how you manage to look at that scar and don't feel that pain, that hurt. Or to look at that scar and it doesn't affect another person negatively, especially your child or your husband. What's the secret?
One thing I have tried to learn is that not everybody knows my story. So I shouldn't act as if my story is on my face.
Okay.
Yes.
Do not act as if your story is on your face. Not everybody knows your story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So sometimes we expect people to treat us because of who we think we are or what we have gone through. But the person has no idea of all of that. So the truth is, I manage. Like you say, it's a scar. You will always see it.
Okay.
But when you see it, you just have to remember that the wound has healed. Right? Like, I think I mentioned a little the last time that most often when people treat me, I tend to think like they want to treat me the same way my mother treated me. And I want to feel bad about it. I want to but I remember that this person does not even know my mother, does not know me, does not even know what I've gone through. So holding this against the person is just like going back to my past.
Yeah.
So I choose to let go. And the same thing with my husband. Sometimes, of course, every home must have some small clashes. And each time there is some small misunderstanding, I want to feel like. Because from the story of my mom, I actually experienced something with my dad. And I realized that actually hurt is not just hurt, but it's dependent on who hurt you.
Who hurts you?
Yes.
Oh.
Because I was used to my mother hurting me from childhood. But my father has been my kojo, a kind of my best man. And I knew that no matter what, he's there for me. But it came a time where he took sides with my stepmother, with his wife, and completely turned his back on me. And I was a student then. Nothing has ever hurt me like that. It was like a serious emotional
I can imagine, because for your mother to hurt you, you were used to, and
yes,
you hung on to your dad as your only hope.
Yes.
And that hope now
it let me down. In fact, I could say that what I went through with my mom, well, viewers would have thought that was the worst of it. The truth is, when I went through what I went through with my dad, it wasn't, I can't say what I went through with my mom was half of what I went through with my dad, because I really did love him, and I saw that he loved me too so much, and he was like my all in all. But when the time came that he took sides with his wife and turned his back on me, that was when I truly experienced what it meant to be lonely, what it meant to be on your own. I felt worse than an orphan. An orphan will know that it's because my parents are not there. But mine were there, but they didn't care. So it was the worst of the situations. But honestly, it still affects me today.
Okay.
Yes.
How does it affect you today?
Each time, especially with my husband.
Yes.
Each time he does something wrong to me, I just tend to feel like what my father did to me, because I look at him like somebody who has come to love me so much. And now there are times that, because when that happened to my dad, I started questioning, is it that you truly loved me? Or you were showing compassion because my mother was against me? Or was it that you were trying to use me to be against my mother, to hurt my mother? Trying to show that you love me and I love you, and it's not the same case with her. So I started feeling that way when my father equally turned. It was like, because that happened after my mother had died. You see, it was like our love was for somebody. You know, my father and I was like,
to your
yes,
mother.
it was like trying to hurt my mother. That's why he was loving me. That is what I started feeling. So sometimes when I have a misunderstanding with my husband, that thing wants to come back. That were you just pretending to love me, or is it that you truly do? You know, then I will hit my head and say, come on, Benny, get out of this. You know, get out of this. Each time the truth is, it will always want to surface.
So you always talk to yourself?
Yes, I talk to
when you
myself.
face the situation, you have to
Yes.
talk back to yourself.
I talk to myself.
Okay.
I said, Benny, get out of this.
Okay.
It's nobody's fault what you went through, and you can't hold anybody responsible for it. If you say you are forgiven, forget and let go. Don't hold it on others. Don't allow other people bear the burden of others.
Or maybe you better say it's the fault of those who made you go through what you went through are not the ones
Who are
hurting you now presently. So you should not take somebody's mistake and put on another person.
Yes.
Okay.
That is what I try to do. And also, as far as my child is concerned, even when I am disciplining, I'm very careful with my words to make sure that I don't make the child have a feeling of the fact that maybe I'm angry or maybe I'm trying to hate. You know, I struggle not to repeat even a single thing that I can remember I suffered of.
Okay, I hope you're not in another way of pampering her.
No, I don't.
Her.
I discipline her.
Okay.
But I try to make sure that she understands, even though she's still very small. Yes, whenever I discipline her,
Yes.
I get her back to myself.
Okay.
Yes, trying to make her. The thing is, I suffer from it because it's too much. I'm too conscious of it.
Okay.
It's like every bit of step I take as far as she's concerned, I am afraid not to do the errors that my parents did, or not to make her feel the way I felt.
From this your story, what I'll pick out from there to our audience, to our viewers, is that your story is not written on your face.
Yes.
So not everybody knows what you went through. So it's not, it doesn't justify why people treat you the way they do. Somebody can treat you innocently the way they do, and it doesn't necessarily mean they know why they're treating you that way. So you don't have to drag a long face, drag everybody around to what you have been through or what you're going through. You need to know and understand that people come from different angles and they see you too. And also I feel that when you move around gloomy, angry, and always feeling this bitterness, you carry a kind of bitter presence around you as well, because you will not carry that sweet spirit. And for that reason, you may just want to look at some people and just hate them for no reason.
That's
Why is this person's life moving well? Why is this person so loved by everybody and I'm not loved by that person? But it's not the person's fault.
That's it. Honestly, like most of all, when I see children, especially grown up even of my age, going around with their mothers, worrying less about the things I worry about, sometimes I feel like I want to get angry. Sometimes I feel like I want to get jealous. Why is she making as if she's the only one who has a mother, you know? But It's not her
That's
fault.
human nature.
Yes.
But now how we handle it.
Yeah.
How we handle that situation. So when you feel that way, what do you do to get out of it?
Like I said earlier, I tell myself, Benny said, be careful, stop that. I tried to talk to myself. I tried to talk myself out of it. I said, truly, if you were given the same opportunity, maybe you could do worse than what the child is doing. So it's not her fault. So
This aspect of talking back to myself takes me to one lady who gave me a story, who said she had a problem with she couldn't conceive.
Yeah.
And because of that, she started becoming bitter. She already had one child, but she couldn't conceive for a while. So she became bitter. Her neighbor was pregnant, and each time she saw that neighbor, she was angry. Each time the neighbor is happy or talking, moving around, she's just angry. Why are you like this? Why are you that? In her heart, she was like some bitterness, until she got up one day and told herself that this is not happening. You can't be angry for another person because you are not. So she just said, she started talking to herself that sit up, you own your happiness. You are responsible for your happiness. You're responsible for what happens around you and what happens to you. You should own it. And as she kept talking to herself, she discovered that aspect of anger left her slowly. And she became happy for that neighbor who was pregnant. So like what you said, I think it's true that you should be conscious, be intentional about owning your happiness and doing it not to the detriment of anybody. You want to do it for yourself because the forgiveness is that gift you want to give yourself. Wow. So you have been abandoned somehow by your mother, then you only hope your father gets into the same soup.
The only good story about it is that for my father, finally things got back better.
Okay.
Yes, unlike my mom, who passed away in such a situation.
Okay.
So for my father, I came to realize that no, that's my daughter. I wasn't treating her, I'm not treating her.
God bless him for realizing and getting back along with you.
Yes.
That's what we want from our fathers, what we want from our parents.
Yeah.
You can't, if you realize that there was some mistake, some misunderstanding somewhere, fix it as soon as you can, because you don't own tomorrow, you never know what will happen.
And I was actually shocked. He actually asked for forgiveness.
Wow.
And when he was doing that, I could see a man practically crying.
A man practically crying. Your father came and asked you for forgiveness for not treating you right.
Yes.
I hope some fathers out there are listening. And I hope some mothers are listening too. It is not wrong to go to your child and ask for forgiveness when you're doing something wrong. Even when you've done some or you've said something that is hurtful. There's no problem to go say, I'm sorry, my child, for this thing I did. That wasn't right.
And truth is, I feel closer to him now than before. Yes.
Wow.
I feel like he is somebody who truly did love me.
Okay.
And he tried to even explain to me some of the things that were going wrong with him, why he had to behave the way he did. And I was like, I felt more sorry for him, but like, I wish I understood you better. I wouldn't have felt the way I felt. And perhaps, things would have been better. So, I thank God.
So dear parents, dear guardians, from Benezet's story, we realize that the scars will remain. Some scars will not go. But if they don't go, it doesn't mean that you should, as you move around the way, everybody knows that you had that scar. Nobody sees it on your face. Just some few people will see if you let them see it. So you shouldn't blame your happiness or your sadness on anyone. You have to own it, and you have to take this forgiveness thing and say, this is my gift to myself. And parents, it is not wrong to say, I'm sorry to your child. Remember, on Shantia's Haven, we are building healthy families and working on a beautiful and healthy society, one family at a time. Thank you so much for watching. Never forget to leave it better than you met it. See you next time on Shantia's Haven. Bye-bye.